folks, we'll get right into the governance and then turn it over to Darlene.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the governance committee meeting to order. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Henry.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, members of the board. We're going to go over a few items today for the governance report. The first item is the management report on internal controls. That's required annually by public authorities law. We're just supposed to assess our internal controls program and our framework and make sure that we're meeting all of the requirements. There's nothing really earth-shattering in this year's report. We are meeting all the requirements as noted. We did find some issues this year with some of our authoritative documents, policies, procedures, forms that haven't been reviewed recently. That probably need to have another set of eyes on them this year and make sure we're current and in the correct format. There's also been several new policies, procedures, and forms initiated to fill some gaps, so we're working on those. They're not quite complete yet, but they are mostly at the executive level for final review. We're reviewing the trapeze system capabilities recently. It's been going on for several months to make sure that we're utilizing the program to all of its capabilities and that we're standardized in the way that we're using it across all properties. We've identified some issues there, but we're working through those. We're also reviewing the auto audit program that's been used fairly recently to try and track the internal controls program in general. We're going to get some training on that since I'm new and one other person to make sure that that's a viable program to use going forward and not something that we might be spending money on when we could use other programs that are already in Microsoft Outlook to do those things. So we're looking at those. We have efforts underway to look at the strategic planning process to make sure that we are accurately capturing what we need to make sure we're meeting our mission statement requirements. And according to all of that, the review for fiscal year ending March 31st, 2026 concluded that the internal control framework is present, functioning, and effective. Are there any questions or concerns about the management report on internal controls?
I know a lot goes into this stuff, and we definitely appreciate your work. And this is not, it's not like putting a bus out there with a nice branding on it. But it's something that's required. It's a very important, high level.
It's not exactly easy reading it. The next item is the annual performance measures report. We're also required to do that based on Public Authorities Law 2800. We're also required to make sure that that's published on the public-facing website and that we meet reporting requirements. Several positive trends were noted this year. Ridership has increased across most systems. Cost management efforts were effective. Operating efficiency improved. Fare box recovery increased. There were a few items where we had some dips, but they weren't significant. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the metrics?
No, but I think by looking at the report, a lot of the work that the team is doing, we talk about Better Bus Onondaga, talk about Better Bus Oswego, the system redesign in Rome, and just increased ridership across the board is helping. But the metrics, the fare box recovery rate, the subsidy per passenger, as we're seeing the fare box recovery rate go up, as more people are riding our buses and paying the fare box, the subsidy going down means that the fare box is actually paying for some of that trip rather than us using our federal and state subsidies to do that. But the services and the changes are working. So it's a very positive outlook as to the process and things we're working through and making sure that we're taking our time and doing the due diligence and having the conversations to identify the needs of the community and getting the ridership to utilize our service, making sure our service is efficient. We talk about it all the time. We're short operators. We're only running 70% of our overall service in Onondaga County. But the service we are running is the service that is efficient, it's streamlined, it's the service people want to see and ride, that our ridership is increasing and that we're hitting those metrics. So all in all, it's a good outlook as to what we've done the last couple of years and what the team has done. And now, as we look into the Onondaga County system redesign and those conversations, we're hoping to see the similar trends. So, all in all, I think the progress we've made is very positive. So
some of the other variances noted were the Cortland County numbers. Obviously, last year's report only had 1 day of operating in it, so these numbers, when you look at the differences between the two, the numbers look a little crazy. But that's just because now we have a full year of reporting so we can compare. Also, the Oswego County, there was a slight decrease, but overall, city service increased, but due to the SUNY Oswego contract, there was a slight dip there. Calabas also noted 0 ride denials this year. Well done, Calabas. And improvement to call wait times from the previous year. Any other questions or concerns about the performance measures report?
Did anything surprise you?
Nothing, other than we did really well across all of them.
Okay.
You're always looking for the negatives, but when you see a lot of positives, that's
I guess you can stop it then.
We'll just do it there.
Okay.
We'll accept the win.
Good.
Strategic planning, this year, in the past, the strategic plan and the financial plan have been part of the annual year in review. Unfortunately, there's a lot that goes into that document, so the annual plan hasn't met the deadline for public reporting for that, which I believe is 90 days past the end of the fiscal year. So it takes a long time for marketing and communications to put that report together. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. So to meet the standalone reporting requirements this year, we made the annual report a standalone document. You'll see that it just includes the strategic plan and the financial plan for the upcoming fiscal year. It'll be incorporated into that year in review later on once we get that document together. Strategic pillars this year were identified to provide a framework for prioritizing our efforts and enhance decision-making and provide accountability. Each pillar was further identified with focus areas to get everybody on the same track. There was no change to the performance measures that were used. However, I understand there has been some discussion about possibly changing some of the performance measures in the future at the latest conference.
So there is, as the performance measures we have that we go public with right now, the performance measurements report is a foundation. It's required reporting that we do. But as we continue to look at the strategic plan and the committee that's meeting to discuss the strategic plan, rewrite the strategic plan based on our missions and values, to looking at ideas and saying, how do we focus on performance? How do we look at some things differently? I'll get into it to my report in the general board, but when we were at the APTA conference and we've had some conversations with FTA and really focusing on performance measures, ridership increasing is one metric, but it's a metric that's archaic. Just because the ridership is increasing doesn't mean our service is performing at a high level. That could mean people that have to ride our service are riding our service, whether it's good or not, or performing well, isn't really an opportunity that ridership is measuring standalone. So looking at some other avenues as we develop our strategic plan to really focus on performance measures. How is the customer satisfaction rating and different things is something we are going to tweak in the long run. So they're not broken out in this current strategic plan, but something we're looking at for future strategic plans to really capture some of that performance metrics rather than just saying ridership is up 4.8%. That means we did a good job, right? Yes and no. And I think the FTA is looking at some of that as more of a priority is how we're seeing us perform as a whole, rather than just say ridership is up, call bus denials are 0. There's a little more in the story to tell, and that's something we've been trying to tell and we've been talking about over the last couple of years. But now let's start putting metrics to it and rating our performance, and then presenting it to the board so you guys are seeing some realistic numbers, and let the data tell the story as well.
Melissa, did you want to mention anything about the financial plan that's included?
No, we went over it in great detail when they approved the budget in March.
So any other questions, concerns about the annual report, strategic plan?
I just have a question. Do you guys have the data broken out, or can you break out the data separately from the SUNY routes to see the ridership difference?
I mean, we do track the ridership, and I'm looking at Paula and Bren. The ridership does break out between, for Oswego County, we have Oswego County as a whole, but then we have the city service in Oswego, the campus service, the Fulton service. So we do have that ridership information broken out. We can share that with you if you want to see that year over year, month over month.
I'd like to just see what it's like, how it's doing outside of like the SUNY data affecting it, because I know that's dragging down some of the ridership.
Yeah, and I think at high level review, the city service, do we know what that number is in the city of Oswego?
The city service, I know since the system redesign is up, 10-ish%, which is great this early on. But again, that SUNY Oswego service is down. For example, this month it's down 27%, so that makes a difference, right? They just cut a lot of.
I mean, they cut 2 routes out of the service for the campus, which was dedicated campus service, so that was a big impact to the campus service.
But we can.
But yeah, we can pull those numbers again for you.
Anything else? Some upcoming initiatives for internal controls, we're hoping to complete a formal risk assessment by department this upcoming year. The internet website accountability and transparency audit, we've already started looking public facing. ABO looks at us to find out that we're meeting requirements. We're also gonna look at the intranet, our internal system this year, make sure that we have current information available for everyone there. The strategic plan content format review, we're gonna start that soon, where we're gonna look at what goes into the strategic plan and maybe make some adjustments there. The authoritative document audit, we're gonna look at all the policies, procedures, forms that are currently out there, make sure that they are current, they don't need to be updated, reformatted, and then see if there's any more gaps that we need to fill. And record retention seems to be a hot topic recently on how long do we need to keep things, what do we need to keep, does it need to be paper, does it need to be electronic? What are the means to do that? So we'll be looking at, those are some things we're gonna be looking at in the upcoming year. And the last thing that we need to do for, to complete the governance meeting is the annual mission statement and performance measures review. So by ABO, we're supposed to look at our mission statement and our performance measures that we're using each year and decide, are we gonna continue with them for the upcoming year or do we need to make adjustments? And it's based on our legislative direction, and make sure that what we have currently on the books is really still working for us. So, do you want to open it to discussion, or?
So what she's asking for is a motion, certainly the mission statement that we created now 2 years ago to be a driving force moving communities forward. The projects we've done over the last 2 years, but the ABO requires us to have the board pass a motion that they still want to continue to keep that being our mission statement.
So,
And I don't,
yeah, let's call a motion for that, and then we'll bring it up to the full board and finalize it to get it in minutes. Motion for the mission statement, Robert, second.
Can I add something quick? That was a very good presentation.
Oh my God.
Governance committee, that was one of the best I've heard. Thank you.
thanks, Bob.
Very good. So we have a motion, Robert moving it, and Darlene second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay, very good report.
That's all I have.
Anything else? No, it is a good report, all good things. I think the team with the strategic plan encompasses all departments, the senior directors, to really start looking at what we're doing for the future, setting the goals. So we're excited. This is the first level that you're gonna see that you guys approved today. But then over the next couple months, we'll continue to evolve that. And next year, you'll see a more robust plan, which is exciting.
And the team did it record time.
Yes.
I guess in 3 months, we got everything together and got it.
That's amazing. That's a lot of collection.
It was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, no,
But it was great. Great
Good job.
conversation.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's all.
Okay, so there are no more questions for Suzanne, any questions? Okay, we're good. Suzanne, that was an excellent report. Thank you for your presentation. That concludes the governance committee meeting.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, let's take a few minutes for the audit finance.
is.
Start our audit and finance committee here. Okay, Melissa, let's talk about our financial position.
I think, are we gonna start with John?
John Mayer?
Oh, John, I'm sorry, I forgot, John, yeah, I was just talking to you, John. Okay, I got all this wealth of knowledge from him, then I threw him aside.
I'm used to it.
All right, thank you, John, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be very brief. I prepared this. You can read it at your leisure. The only important thing is we're saving $364,678.14.
Great job.
In the insurance world, you never
Win.
Yeah.
It's,
Wow.
it's kind of like
So
unbelievable.
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, basically, we have the same carriers. Princeton is owned by Munich Reinsurance, and they were able to renegotiate some reinsurance treaties with other companies. And they gave us the money. We've been with them a long time, we've been good, and they're the lead. We have 3 policies, they're the lead, so everybody else follows their rating down the line. So everybody went down, but the biggest portion was Princeton. So sometimes it pays to be loyal. It certainly pays not to have any claims in their area. They have one condition, Jackie's working on it, and we'll get that done, and we'll be good. So it's a very, and I really did blow my budget projections for you guys.
That's okay.
You were budgeting a lot
That's
more.
into our favor.
I know.
I will take that every day.
Me too. Me too.
I'm trying to remember a time over all the years of that type of difference. I don't think I can recall it, John.
We have it on our property,
Okay,
and we're still low on our property.
good.
There's one other carrier has entered the business, and I put it down there, and they happen to do Buffalo, by the way. They were just a little bit more. My concern with them is their best rating. Our companies are all A+ best ratings. They're A- and below. Now, most governmental agencies, I think all sorts are in the E&S market, and most will accept an A- rating. It's not horrible, but Princeton, because of Munich, has got a better rating. But we'll see what happens. And by the way, they've only been in our business for 1 year. They started with Buffalo. We'll see what happens.
So basically then, just summarize that one more time. It's going towards the company Princeton?
Princeton's our first.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Hudson, then we have Lexington. They're all A+ companies.
Right.
Obsidian just got into our type of business. So there is another market. Their rate, these companies' ratings, A-, A-, this one's an A+.
But awarded contract will be going over here.
Yeah,
Princeton.
yeah,
Interesting.
To the 3 excess carriers.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Questions? I mean, John, you could get us a lock-in for the next 4 years.
Right.
Get you a nice steak.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so I have a motion on that, please, on the award contract for insurance. Neil, second. Robert, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'll be presenting the preliminary statement of net position and statements of revenues and expenditures. The auditors will be here next month to hopefully give us our A+ again, fingers crossed. They're preliminary mainly because we don't have the OPEB entries, which is post-retirement healthcare, deferred inflows and outflows, pension, unfunded liabilities, as well as our new lease liabilities, and Sedita, which is software as a service, entries in these numbers yet, but those generally affect deferred inflows and outflows. So starting with our preliminary statement of net position, as of March 31st, the quick ratio is 6.9, which is an improvement of the 4.7 in the fourth quarter of last fiscal year. Current assets total $65.9 million, which is in line with our current assets in fourth quarter of last year. Current liabilities are $8.4 million, which reflects a $3.96 million decrease compared to the fourth quarter of last year. Expanded assets, cash equivalents, and investments total $48.9 million. This is an increase of $11 million compared to last year. The key factors in that are lower receivable balances. At the end of the last fiscal year, we had large grant receivables. MRT has performed very well this year, as well as our investment revenues. Receivables and accruals total $9.1 million, reflecting that $11.7 million decrease compared to last year. And again, the key contributing factor to that is that grant receivable line. After the month end, we did receive $2 million in FTA grant receivables and $478,000 in New York State grant receivables. Materials and supplies at the year end totaled $3.6 million, representing a slight decrease of $293,000 compared to March of last year. This is a result of timely disposal of obsolete parts relating to our CNG facility, and then continued efforts to optimize inventory levels in the stockroom. The prepaid expenses and other current liabilities totaled $4.3 million, reflecting an increase of just under $1 million compared to March of last year, and that is due to timing of when we pay for our liability insurance. In prior year, we didn't pay for it until April. This year, we cut the check in March. Any questions on the current assets? Okay. Current liabilities, accounts payables and accruals total $3.4 million, reflecting a decrease of $4.2 million compared to March 2025. That decrease is attributed primarily to, in the prior year, we had higher grant receivable payables at fiscal year end, and that was pertaining to our large bus procurement. Accrued salaries, liabilities, and benefits total $3.7 million, which is pretty consistent with prior year. Estimated claims payable total $1.2 million. This is a slight increase of $115,000 compared to March of 2025. And this is the increase is a change in our IBNR at fiscal year end, which that is incurred but not recorded health insurance expense. Any questions in regards to our liabilities? Okay, moving on to our preliminary statement of revenues and expenditures. After 12 months ending March 31st, the authority reports a consolidated operating income of $4.3 million. This does exclude capital contributions and non-operating expenses. Operating revenues are performing 7.3% over budget, 10.1% over prior year, and 20.8% over fiscal year 2024. The favorable budget and prior year variances continue and finish the year with increased ridership, scheduled and unscheduled contract rate increases, and higher demand of contracted services, and then the advertising and other that is performing on budget and in line with prior year. So revenues performed very well this year. Any questions? Operating expenses at the fiscal year end total $91 million, representing $3.3 million or 3.8% increase compared to prior year. The story is, the same as I've been reporting the last several months. Personnel expenses are $65.2 million, ending the fiscal year $1.6 million over prior year. Non-personnel expenses total $25.8 million, ending the fiscal year in line with personnel expenses at about $1.8 million over prior year. The largest variances In regards to the non-personnel expenses is that risk management line. We did have some operation efficiencies that we were able to capitalize in the purchase transportation, and then higher than anticipated bus part savings and cost of services in regards to engineering, legal, training, IT being less than we anticipated. So overall, a good year. Yeah.
How much has the fuel cost went up?
So thankfully, for most of our fuel services, diesel, CNG, we lock that in. So we are under contract. So we haven't seen the increases that most other places have seen. We have seen some slight increases in gasoline, but we do not have the taxes associated with those. The gas is the only fuel source that we cannot lock in.
So just to piggyback off that, for reference, we're paying $2.67 a gallon equivalent for diesel, where the market on the public side is about $6. And then with our investment in compressed natural gas, we're paying about 57 cents a gallon equivalent for CNG. So when we did the ribbon cutting last week and we talked about the $1 million in savings, we're saving about $2.10 a gallon by using CNG over the diesel as well. So something Jeff and their team, I call it legal gambling, where we lock in the market last year for this year. So he gets the market price and we play the game, like, is it gonna go up 2 cents, down 2 cents, what do we wanna do, and then lock it in. So we locked in last year at $2.67 ahead of the increase we have today. We do that for CNG and for diesel.
When does that expire?
April of 2028.
Okay, alright, so we gotta make sure this other stuff gets.
Yeah, so hopefully the price comes back down when we lock in.
You take care of that.
That's gonna be Anthony's job.
Is there
I don't
any,
know if he's accepting any jobs.
are there any other questions in regards to our operating expenses? So on a snapshot basis, personnel expenses are 10.2% under budget, 2.5% over prior year. Non-personnel expenses are 10.5% under budget, but 7.4% over prior year. And overall expenses are 10.4% under budget, 3.8% over prior year, and 13.7% over fiscal year 2024. So our expenses are going up. Thankfully, not quite as fast as we are anticipating, which is a good thing. But that is something we are very mindful of, that unfortunately, like most things, that those expenses continue to rise. For non-operating revenues, they are performing 6.5% under budget, 2.3% under prior year, and 7% over fiscal year 2024. So we've been able to capitalize with that, well-performing MRT and investments. So we've been able to conserve, and then the increase in our STOA last year. So we've been able to conserve our federal PM as well as our ONEDA operating assistance to utilize in future years. Again, mortgage recording tax is performing very well, and so is our investments.
The mortgage recording tax, that graph's interesting, how the upward trend, very interesting there.
We're skipping ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, but
That's
you
okay.
mentioned it, and
Yeah.
I drew my attention.
No, that's
Yeah.
okay. So mortgage recording tax in March, the receipts were just under 700,000. And to Nick's point, we are performing very well. 30% over budget, 27.6% over prior year, and 27% over fiscal year 2024. So we are moving in the right direction.
Just for the board, we're seeing the revenues increase here. A good portion of this revenue is what we use to cover the local match of our capital purchases. So when we talk about, we received $50-60 million in competitive grant funding, there's a local match to that. This is where that local match goes. So when we're using bus purchases and procurements that require the local match, this helps us fund that, because that's on us, or it's coming out of our operating budget. So these are some of the avenues and the revenues performing well that help us cover that cost.
I saw that there was a note in here regarding the New York State Fair exceeding expectations with ridership. Is that helping with revenue as well with those ticket sales, or how is that?
I mean, that's a snapshot, right? So that happened in August and September, so we don't pre-sell, but yes, that was in that time frame better than we anticipated.
The overall fair service itself, I still don't think we're breaking even.
No.
Definitely not to what it costs us to run the service, even with the contracted service from the state fair that we do for the Orange and the Willis Ave lot. We still are operating at a significant loss for the fair.
I know that the union reps, and I know Frank isn't here, has expressed that the drivers are really interested in doing some more of the fair routes. So is there like any type of timeline or frame that you guys are gonna start bringing back some of these fair routes to some of the rural communities? I know we've been asking since before COVID, and it's just really been the same answer every year, and I want them back.
Part of that is manpower, and what can we do that can provide the service consistently.
You can contract again with, who was it, RTS?
We did bring them in, they are having manpower issues too, but that's a significant cost. When they came in last year, it cost us, or 2019, cost us almost $150,000 to bring them to run their service.
When they were here for the VIA training, they did express that they were interested in that.
Because it's revenue to them.
Well, but it's an expense to us on the 150,000 side. And there's some nuances there as far as fueling and different things that come with it, so it's not as clean as they think. Also, I'm not sure if they're in the position to make that call. When we reached out before in 19, and then of course 2020, there was no fair. When they hit 2021 and manpower was an issue, it was expressed to us that they probably would not be able to do anything for us. Also with the PTSB rules, they can only drive a total of 12 hours. So their commute time from Rochester, from Albany, counts towards their day's work. So it also makes some nuances there to get them here to drive, to be able to cover the service. And one of the biggest things we're trying to accomplish is, if we can get you to the fair, we have to get you home from the fair. And we've had significant issues with that in both Oswego and Auburn in the past, of where people get to the fair, but because this is all voluntary, we can't mandate people to come and drive the fair. If they don't want to drive to do that midnight bus, we have to figure that out. And we've had situations with that in the past, so we're very hesitant to say, yes, let's do it. Today it sounds great. Come 13 days of the fair, when we start running into the PTSB rules, 75 hours a week, 24 hours off, 12 hours at a 15-hour day, and all those nuances, it starts limiting that pool. And now we're going to be looking at people at the fairgrounds and saying, we don't have a way to get you home. So how do we balance that? And that right now is manpower. We relied heavily in Oswego and Auburn on a large part-time roster that has significantly been depleted since COVID.
So do you guys, so a couple of things, like we wouldn't be asking for, and I'm sure the other rural communities wouldn't either, a full-fledged return of the routes, but it would be nice to see, throw these communities a bone at least and say, let's just do one day. Let's just pilot in maybe each of these, just one day. Just give us one day where we can have and promote something locally to say that we care about these rural communities and that you guys, getting these routes back up and running, not full-fledged, but, do you guys absorb any school bus drivers during the off-season? Do they help with any seasonally, or is even like one day something that you guys could possibly consider?
It's something we can talk about. School bus drivers, we have a few that are part-time drivers that do come back and help out, to just absorb some of them, to get them trained and maintain them. I think we've had some hurdles with that in the past, but some people have committed to do both and they come back, but something we can talk about for sure.
Is it mandatory that we have to do that late night bus? Can we just advertise at that time that the service would be from this hour to that hour?
It's possible. I think there's some things we'd have to consider from an operational perspective, and then what does that mean?
Legally, if somebody doesn't get to the
Yeah.
bus stop on time, how?
Sure.
How-
Those are some nuances that come out of
Yeah,
it
that's
too.
the problem. But do we actually have to take that responsibility? That's what I was wondering.
I think that's open to interpretation.
Okay.
So that's something to consider, but the manpower is one of the biggest hurdles to it.
Well, good conversation.
So we did include the snapshot for April. You guys won't get a current fiscal year report until July, so I thought it was important to show that even April Marquee is still performing very well. It is performing for that 1 month, 26.5% over budget, 20% over prior year. and significantly more than 2024, and you can see that by the graph. So that was, I always like to see the revenues going up. The investment report as of March 31st, unrestricted operating totals, 13.2 million. Uninvested board designated cash was 9.6. It is important to note, with the total uninvested cash of 22.8 million, that 9 million in the capital reserve, that was really a timing thing when the treasury matured and when we could reinvest it. So we reinvested that early in April. In regards to the treasuries, as of March 31st, we had 15.3 million in operating funds invested and 8.5 in board designated funds. And the yields have been pretty stable, around 3.5, and we're getting towards that 3.6, 3.7 as you're looking at like a 9 to 12 month duration. So when we can do that, I am trying to capitalize on that. And you'll see that on the next slide. I also did the investment report for, oh, you have a question, Robert? In April. So the April cash, unrestricted operating cash was 7 million. And the uninvested board designated funds were back to 1.2 million with a total uninvested cash through April of 8.1 million. The treasuries as of April, 15.3 million in operating and 18 million in board designated reserves, with a total invested of 33.3 million. And you'll see that we are starting to hit those further durations with the 4-month T-bills, and in May I did invest in a 6-month bill to just get a couple decimal points higher, and we do have the cash flow at this point to handle that.
When you're talking about that amount of money, a couple of decimal points.
Does matter,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Any other questions in regards to our investments? Okay. So cash flow as of 3/31, in the month of March, we used $3.6 million. We received $3.6 million in cash receipts. We utilized $7.7 million for daily operations. Capital purchases totaled $121,000, and capital receipts were $2.5 million. We still have a healthy cash flow. So going into the next fiscal year, it's good to report that. Any questions on the financial statements? If there's no questions, then I just need a motion.
Yes. Any questions on anything here? It was a good report. I think we're doing the best as we could to prepare for the future. It's important. A motion, please. Anthony, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Good job, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Okay. We're gonna get into our resolutions. Anyone's gonna discuss the lobbying services 2631 contract.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So this contract will be paid for with operating funds. This request for proposal was publicly led on February 4th. 27 vendors were invited, 13 of which were minority and women-owned business enterprises, and 33 proposal packages were downloaded. On February 26th, we received 7 proposals, and the evaluation committee determined that Hill East Group offered the most advantageous proposal for both the federal lobbying services as well as the state lobbying services. There is a full waiver for MWBE participation approved by Empire State Development on this contract. So therefore, it's my recommendation that the board award the lobbying services contract to Hill East Group for a 5-year term.
Okay, any questions, folks, on this?
Well, I guess for those who probably don't really, just have probably a vague understanding of the lobbying,
Yes.
if you can.
Why don't we go down, bring it down?
Okay, down.
Sure. So lobbying services right now, in the history of the authority here, we've never had a a hired lobbyist, somebody that's working on our behalf in both Albany and in Washington DC to advocate for funding, advocate for policy changes on our behalf directly. That's strictly always relied on the CEO. I know Nick and several board members have gone to Washington to lobby and be part of NIPTA and ask for funding. And as we are turning the corner towards larger projects, going after more competitive funding, and also we're in the reauthorization bill timeframe on the federal side, evaluating the opportunity of either hiring somebody internally on staff to really focus on some of these, or hiring an outside firm. The cost effectiveness was to hire an outside firm, but the goal with these individuals or this firm on both the state and the federal side is to assist with us in scheduling the appointments with the appropriate folks in Albany, getting in front of meetings. And I'm going to steal Melissa's approach here, is this drip, drip, drip communication methodology. So when they're in Washington and say, we met with Magnarelli here in district, but when he's in Albany and they pass him in the hallway, they're still reiterating our conversation. They're still reminding them, in front of Ways and Means on the Assembly side or the Senate Finance Committee, where some of those meetings we may not be able to get. And especially being here in Syracuse, we're not always able to be in Albany or be in Washington, D.C. So this firm is going to be an extension of the work that I do and what we do as a staff to continue to advocate for dedicated funding for Centro, dedicated funding for Central New York, to make sure that we're providing good services, advocating, certainly we know the budget passed this week, advocating for those increases where I may not be able to be there all the time. So this is something new that we're going to try and continue with and evaluate over the next couple of years and see the effectiveness. How do we tweak it? But hopefully they can be just an extension in assisting us in these discussions and meetings. We've done a lot of the same stuff that Rick has done and Frank has done and Brian did. And I want to take it to the next level. And I think this is the way we can get there, to continue to tell that message, to continue the success and funding that we've received over the last couple of years.
Can you, either of you, walk us through your evaluation?
Yeah.
Knowing that they're not
They're not the lowest.
lowest,
Yes.
but you did mention something about their approach or method of approach, and so can you just...
Absolutely. So every RFP has evaluation criteria that we determine in the forefront before we go out to the street. Method of approach, organizational capacity and experience, as well as the cost proposal. So those are weighted in a certain way. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if we did capacity or method of approach first and foremost, but they're typically within about 10 points of each other. Cost was third on this one. So yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but that's why we use the terminology more advantageous, because what they brought to the table in this RFP specifically, we did sit down and have interviews with a handful of the higher scoring firms. And so after discussion, after reading their proposal, we determined that it was the best fit with our group here.
And I assumed as much, I'm just trying to...
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Very good question.
And I'm also assuming that they have experience with transit or public agencies.
Yes.
Probably their bread and butter, right?
Yes, I mean, it's not their sole approach, but yes, their staff and their individuals are very keen on the transportation side, and we're part of the transportation committee in Congress, so it was very helpful with us.
Cool.
Any other questions? Reform. And this is professional services too. So things are a little bit different. Okay, now I'll ask for a motion on this. Joella, second. Heather? Any discussion? All in favor? Dale's also going to talk about our renewable natural gas.
So this is a revenue contract. This is also a new contract. This request for proposal was publicly let on February 18th. 8 vendors were invited and 30 proposal packages were downloaded. On March 11th, we received 5 proposals, and the evaluation committee determined that WM Renewable Energy offered the most advantageous proposal. They offered a revenue share of 28.5%. So we're looking for award for the renewable natural gas contract to WM Renewable Energy for a full 5-year term.
Questions? I have a motion to award contract to WN Renewable Energy. Anthony, second. Julius? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Caitlin. Good job. Chris? Oil water separator installation. Trench drain repair. Seems like a lot of fun.
Good morning, everyone. This contract is for an installation of an oil water separator as well as repair of various trench drains through our Syracuse facility garage downstairs here. The contract will be paid for with grant funds using an 80-10-10 split between federal, state, and local share. The invitation for bid was publicly let on January 12th. 136 vendors were invited, 57 of which were sent to certified minority and women-owned business enterprises. In total, 25 bid packages were downloaded. On February 11th, 3 bids were received, with the lowest responsible bidder being J.K. Tobin Construction Company. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board award the contract for the oil water separator installation and repair of trench drains to J.K. Tobin Construction Company in the amount of $472,736.
Questions for Chris? Numbers are there.
WME component to this one?
There is not. That's due to the fact that this is partially federally funded. The MWB component comes from the state side, so when we have the federal money into the contract, that doesn't pertain. Correct.
We have a motion, please, to award contract to J.K. Tobin Construction. Heather, second. Neil, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Chris is going to talk about the 11 paratransit vehicles. Chris, give us a little background too of how long they usually last.
The vehicles themselves? How long the vehicles themselves last?
Yeah.
I believe it's 7 years?
5 to 6 years, they can go up to 7.
Okay, so about 5 to 6 years is the typical lifespan of these vehicles. And I will say this purchase is for 11 of the dual rear wheel cutaway buses. These are the typical call buses that we've been procuring and using in our call bus service, but of these particular 11, 8 of them are going to be reserved for our Syracuse Move service when that launches, and 3 of these will be used in our standard call bus paratransit service. The contract is also going to be paid with grant funds using the same 80-10-10 split between federal, state, and local share. Pricing was received from Coach and Equipment Bus Sales in the amount of $154,422 per Move transportation bus and $146,047 per call bus. And that difference in price is primarily due to the fact that the Move buses have greater, or I should say, an increased quantity of the decals and the wraps on them, so that's due, the price increase is due to that. Therefore, it is our recommendation that the board authorize a purchase order to Coach and Equipment Bus Sales in the amount of $1,673,521 for the purchase of 11 total paratransit buses.
Did we check with Tina?
It's the same standard bus that we just ordered. All
For
with
the
the in-floor securement.
It's got the-
Yep, that'll have that securement, yep.
Are these vehicles the same other than the wrap?
Yep,
The same-
the interior is the
same-
same lift, same ramp, securement, seating, setup, it's just the outside design that's different.
Is the 11 adding to the fleet, or is it just replacing? Will it be an addition which would allow us to reduce contract?
Just replacing.
No, this is just a replacement. Again, the capacity of replacing contracted services is manpower. We're still short 22 operators here in Syracuse.
You said replacement, what happened to the one that you replaced?
They've reached their end of useful life, so we will put them up for public auction, we'll sell them.
Where does the local match come from? Which funding do you pay the local
So
match?
Chris was explaining that earlier, so we reserve, or what we put in our grant applications is the mortgage recording taxes, our dedicated fund, that we use for the local share.
That's so smart. That's very smart. Which is great. Okay.
Any more questions, conversation? I have a motion to award to Coach and Equipment for the 11 buses. Julia, second. Neil, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Melissa, any more to discuss?
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we'll take a little bit.
Thank you.
all set? Okay, we're gonna get it started here today. Okay, we're gonna start with our pledge of allegiance, and our honoree's gonna lead us in this. Eric.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a quorum present. Our next meeting date is June 19th, audit and finance at 9, board meeting at 9:30. May I have a motion to approve the regular minutes of the April 24th meeting? Anthony, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Fortunately for the honoree, unfortunately for us, we have an honoree today, another retirement. And I'd like to talk a little bit about Eric Jacobson. And when you listen to what I say here, if I was a young person, this would kind of motivate me. This would really motivate me. He served the Syracuse and Utica communities for 34 years. He was hired, and I remember this year pretty good, March 30th, 1992, hired as a service cleaner. And now we're going to show you his path. 6/14/93 was promoted to mechanic. 7/7/97 he moved to first class mechanic. And May 9th of 05, promoted to working foreman. So we're still going up these stairs here, which is awesome. 7/15/13 was promoted to manager of the maintenance of Central Oneida, and I know you did a good job there because that's where I'm from. And a couple things that we don't know about Eric Mead. Pretty damn guitarist, I heard.
I did not know that.
I play solo.
Okay.
Solo, no one else can hear me.
That's not true.
And by far, his favorite guitarist is R&R, Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
Cyclist through various stages of his life. Loves anything with a motor. Bikes, cars, race cars, planes, rockets, etc. So maybe SpaceX might have an opportunity for you.
After yesterday, I'm pretty sure they got opportunities for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. I can relate with this one. Loves food and beer.
Yeah.
Great. Likes to tell jokes, and I think that levity is good anywhere in your life, if it's work or at home. Extremely gifted at troubleshooting mechanical problems, and I think that's something that could be it seems like it's a lost art sometimes because you gotta have that passion inside to do that.
Yeah.
And through Eric's life, he learned a lot of that manually. Okay, he's just not plugging something in and spit out what's wrong with him. Enjoys a good conversation, which I just had with him and his wife. And this is, I think, something that, you can do all the best work you want, but he lives for his family and his grandkids. And I think, when we look at life after, that's really important. So let's congratulate Eric on his retirement effective May 1st and on his 34 years of dedication to Central, the Syracuse and Utica communities, and all our customers.
No, no, you're good.
There
we go, guys.
Great. Chris, move over one. We're gonna do a picture with also his wife over here. So I think that's important. There you go.
Very nice. Great, thank you.
Eric, the only question I have for you is retirement. What are you gonna do? Retirement.
I don't know, I'm looking around and, I'll probably get like a part-time gig or something, doing
Yeah.
something. They mentioned, local Harley Davidson dealer asked me if I'd be interested in it.
They wouldn't be work for you. They wouldn't be work. That would be fun. That would be fun.
So
We wish you the best, though. We wish you the best.
Thanks, everybody.
Everything you do, you're gonna be missed.
It's been a great career, great opportunity for me. And, you know, I can say that, you know, Centro was a part of my life for 34 years. When I started at Centro, I didn't have children, you know.
Life moves quick, so all you young folks in the room, it moves quick. Julius?
Yeah, I say this to you, I can call you a young man, because you're younger than me. Find something to do, encourage some young people.
I'd like
walk
that.
along.
Yeah.
Because I know you at my age, I find people who 50 years ago, who I helped 50 years ago, they bring it back to me. Remember what I was doing, I said, well, did I really do that?
Julius is 51.
Yeah. I'll be 81 in June.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we'll probably have to build a room for Hall of Famers. Great. Okay, so we're gonna move right into our CEO's report today, Mr. Tuff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, members of the board. To say it, I feel like every month, but to say it wasn't a busy month. Just a few of the highlights. At the time I wrote my report, the state budget was not passed. Since then, they have passed the final budget bill. So we've advocated hard and strong on the 15%. Unfortunately, we didn't get the full 15%. The budget passed for upstate, non-MTA, a 7.18%, it's just shy of 7.2. Certainly a strong proposal. I know the 15% was something we were all looking for as we all manage deficits in this coming fiscal year and the result of the exhausted COVID funds. Some of the things that we've put into play in Melissa's report this morning, we've been able to reserve and conserve a lot of our funds that are helping us now look at what is the next step. Is exhausting our reserves to cover, not looking at service cuts and layoffs that probably some of you around this table have been part of over the life of your career. We've been able to not walk down that path this year and hopefully for years to come to continue to advocate for higher increases. So a success overall. The 7.18% results in about a $4.1 million increase in our operating assistance for STOA. I think there's still a loss of about $2 million that we would be incurring, but it's better than the $6 million we were originally looking at. So continuing to push, there was some additional capital funding that was put forward. Nothing specific to zero emissions, but some capital money and increases that helps us continue to work on the projects and state dedicated funding for some of our projects here across central New York. So we're excited and thankful for the governor and the legislature for their hard work over the last couple of weeks to certainly get this passed and to see a 7.2 increase. We are already starting to look at what does the next year look like and start planning for that as far as building our advocacy plan and working on our capital plan. The New York State DOT 5-year capital plan is coming up for renewal. So we're working on our end to make sure that our budget asks are in the NIPTA proposal for that 5-year plan to make sure that we're covered for that. So all in all, successful, not the 15%, but certainly heading in the right direction to still see increases that we desperately need.
But we budgeted the executive budget,
Correct.
which was 5 point something. We can think conservatively here and revenues, and 7's more than 5. At least as I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Simple math is perfect there. I'll highlight it briefly as the federal budget. I think I would last month when I was here, we were talking about the president's proposal for his budget. Certainly, there were some significant cuts in that proposal to across the board for capital funding, competitive funding. The House has, the T&I Committee, Transportation Infrastructure Committee, has put forth their markup to the reauthorization bill. There were cuts. They were not as drastic as the president's cuts, but there's still a decrease. There's a few positives that were in that. Obviously, there's a lot of work to now continue to pass that through the House, and then of course the Senate has to do their markup for the reauthorization in the bill that would expire September 30th. So our focus is working on that and making sure that our interests are met, and we're going to continue to see funding at the levels we have today. But based on the latest two proposals, we may see some cuts, but hopefully they're not as drastic as they think. So more to come on that, but it's making progress. Every quarter we do our Reaching Productivity Milestones Roadshow. So the executive team and I, we traveled to all 6 locations to celebrate with staff, highlight award winners, years of service. This past quarter, we awarded the Maintenance of the Quarter Award to Bill Joss, who's a tire shop foreman here in Syracuse. The Operator of the Quarter was Dave Camioni, which is an operator here in Syracuse. And the Admin Employee of the Quarter was Carlos Galindo, who is our cybersecurity employee here in Syracuse. He's done a lot of work. All 3 employees are 20, between Bill Joss and Dave are 20-year employees. Carlos has been here 5 years, but has really been our behind the scenes guru on our cybersecurity, and our cybersecurity measures have come a long way with his efforts, and we wanted to make sure we recognize them for that. May 13th, we did our compressed natural gas ribbon cutting event. Some of you were there, and we appreciate your attendance there. Certainly we know the investment in that facility, $7.6 million, is an investment significant to our infrastructure in the next coming years. As we talked about earlier today, the cost of compressed natural gas at 57 cents a gallon equivalent is a huge savings to what we're seeing in the market today for diesel fuel or regular gas. So it's important that we continue to maintain that infrastructure. It is near zero emissions, so something that we've been doing for over 30 years to continue to help with emissions. But it's also the technology that's been cost effective for our service, and certainly that savings in the fuel line is certainly translates to service on the street. So finding ways to do that is a win. Also that afternoon on May 13th, FTA Regional Administrator Michael Culata was here for that ribbon cutting, but also spent some time after with myself and my colleagues across the state from NFTA, or from Rochester, Buffalo, Albany, Tompkins County, Broome County, the leaders of their areas and their transit, to have a conversation with Regional Director Culata to just ask questions. What's going on in the future? What are we seeing from the FTA? So it was a good question. It was a good back and forth conversation and discussion, sharing our concerns on some topics. Certainly talking about the budget and maintaining the funding was a key part of that, and then some other policy updates that we're looking at. So very productive, well received from both avenues, from him and from us. So we're looking forward to continue that conversation as the not only the budget progresses, but just as things evolve and transit across the state. Last week, Jackie, Jeff, Raman, and myself were at APTA Mobility, which also included the Workforce Development Conference in Salt Lake City, Utah. Very productive conference as far as just what's going on in the industry. A lot of focus on AI, and there was a couple sessions on autonomous vehicles. Not something right now that we're looking at, but certainly where we're seeing the industry travel to just keep our finger on the pulse. Looking at what's going on, what other agencies are doing, how that's playing out in the market. I think if you watch the news and you're seeing some of these autonomous vehicles for personal cars, they have their issues. So just making sure we're keeping up with the times. But all in all, it was a good conference, showcasing some new products, looking at new avenues, technology that's coming out in the market. Was certainly worth the trip. A few other things to highlight and talk about. Yesterday, Mayor Owens was here, City of Syracuse Mayor, for a conversation since she's taken office in January. I know she's got a lot of initiatives and has hit the ground running. And we've had a great working relationship with her and with Mayor Walsh when she was the deputy mayor. So now that she's transitioning or has transitioned to the mayor and her initiatives, I wanted to make sure that we connected with her, and Eric Ennis was here from her staff to just make sure that our initiatives are aligned, that we're moving in the right direction for Central New York, certainly to understand her vision for Syracuse and how that aligns with us as we do our system redesign, as we're looking at the changing landscape. I don't think you can go anywhere in the city right now without seeing a crane or some type of construction happen. If you look, there's a crane right out the window here. So there's a lot of activity, and we need to be on track with that, so transit is not left behind. So engaging with the mayor to understand her priorities and making sure we're aligned, making sure we're answering any questions she may have was extremely important, and we were grateful for her to come over and do that, and look forward to continuing the conversation during her administration in office. Yesterday, or last night, Chairman Lane O'Brien and I went down to Cortland, and we've completed a little over a year of service in Cortland County. So a couple months ago, the new county administrator was here to meet with us and came up, do a tour of the facility, and they invited us to come back down and just do an overview and a snapshot of how things gone in Cortland in the last year. And so we went down there, gave a presentation to the legislature last night. It just highlighted the things we've done, some of the service changes, some of the routing that we've changed to streamline the routes, make them more linear. They used to have a big loop that used to leave out of Homer and circle the outside of the county and come back. So if you got on the bus just outside of Homer, you had to follow it all the way through to come back into Cortland, where it's literally a 5-minute drive that way. So streamlining the routes and doing things, we're seeing a lot of positive that came out of it. So the county legislature was extremely happy with how things are going in the first year. We highlighted some of the things that we have coming in the next couple months in the coming years, which they were satisfied with and they're very excited about.
Yeah, it was, you never know when you're going into a public forum, what is going to be asked of you. Not only positive but negative. But the legislatures gave a lot of kudos, and on behalf of the board, I want to thank the team that was involved. A lot of people here in the room and not in the room, and we appreciate everything you did, because it was really, this is the second time in 20 years that I've been involved with taking over a county for public transportation, and we know there's a lot of hard work in what you guys did. And then since I was down in Cortland, I wanted to go over and visit the facility. And when I first drove up to the facility, first time we were thinking about going there, I was like, oh my God. And now when I went down there and took a look at it, and Steve knows, Chris knows when he's got me. So we ended up going in the garage, going all over the place. And boy, I was proud to say that we do have a respectful facility down in Cortland area. But it was definitely well received, and like I said to the legislature, I said the board has always considered you part of the family. Their concern is, and this is more of Albany's concern right now, when they're going to have a seat at the table. I know Chris is following up on that, but that's out of our hands. But I did tell them we do have a warm seat, and we do have a nameplate without a name on it. So we'll wait to see. But it was a nice. It was great for the team here, and people well deserved. Our hats off to all of you for what you did, because a little bit different than Oneida County. This was like a 6 or 7 month turnaround. This was like, you have no time to do it. Just do it. And we did it. So it was good.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, very well said. The team is what makes it happen, and the success of that, but to hear the county legislators all echo the same, I used to get complaints, we're not getting complaints anymore. We're looking forward to continued progress, so all positive, and I mentioned it before, and stealing the line from the mayor, I get to be the cheerleader and tell the story of the work of everybody behind you, and that's not here, but their work is what shows, and that's what we're seeing, the positives, we're seeing the measurements reports, their hard work is what's making us successful. Go ahead, Jason.
2 areas, Chris. Micron we're keeping up to date with what's happening with that.
Yep.
And also GME, I saw a rumor that they're going to be expanding this area.
Yep. Yeah.
There was another ride last night around the neighborhood.
Yeah, so JMA does.
9 o'clock and we're still driving around.
Yeah, they do have this, all of this property here. So essentially they have Salina to Oneida and Taylor to Tallman. And that's part of their next phase of expansion. Jackie and I went over and had a conversation with Gail from JMA, just as neighbors to know what's going on. And, they're still working through their process and planning on this property over here. But, we're excited that they're neighbors and what they're doing in the neighborhood. And hopefully we're keeping up our end of the bargain to continue to support whatever they can do and not getting in their way once construction starts.
So there is gonna be positive movement to this part of the neighborhood too.
Yeah, and then we have the on-ramp project, which was just awarded to get the Sears building rehabbed and remodeled, the corner of MLK and Salina, the property. So there's a lot of activity happening around us, and again, continuing the conversation from the mayor, we need to make sure that we're in a position where transit is part of these conversations and being at the table, making sure transit is supporting what they're doing. So the conversation with the mayor, just talking about system redesign, BRT, and how they're targeting their investment is really along a lot of our updated services in line. So if some of the funding they have for transit or for development is really guided to how close are you to transit. So we're excited to see that. Say what?
Who's doing this here?
That was awarded to Jubilee Homes, their proposal.
Jubilee Homes.
Jubilee Homes and their proposal for the on-ramp project. Where it goes from there, I don't know those details, but Jackie and I met with Jubilee, with Twiggy and their contractor to just, how do we be partners? Is there anything we can do with each other as they're looking at workforce development and getting people ready for the next steps? It's a great addition to the neighborhood.
We are gonna be discussing at our TNT meeting on Monday at the Southside Innovation Center about the GMA and about Jubilee, that building there.
Yeah.
And all of the areas just happen to be in our TNT area.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting for the south side of the community and south of the city.
Is there a collaboration with the driver training that they're doing?
So that was part of the conversation that we were looking at is how does that work and how do we align? Certainly our driving training is very intense and specific to us. But maybe there's a way that we can look at having a conversation on CDL permit training.
Okay.
And is there an opportunity to let them do the CDL permit training and then maybe open the door to say, hey, Central has a driver's class that you can segue right into. So we're engaging in some of those conversations right now. Congestion mitigation, air quality, so CMAQ funding, back in March, I mentioned that DOT has reached out to us with a potential of $7 million in CMAQ funding from I'm gonna call it a true up rather, where they looked at excess funding and funding that wasn't spent down in past years. I'm happy to say we received the full $7 million towards our BRT project. So it totals with the local match, I think about 8.7 million towards the project, which is another successful award to the authority for grant funding, which helps fund the project through competitive funding or outside funding rather than looking at our capital plan. That allows us to do other projects within the facility with that funding. So again, just another success story of the things that we're doing and what's getting attention from DOT, looking to help fund our project, knowing just what we're doing, but also what's happening around the community. A few other community involvement things, Honor Flight of Syracuse, something we've been part of for the last, I don't know how many years, as far as providing shuttle services at the airport. We've done some shuttle services for folks that are volunteers from the hotel to the airport. So Mission 24 was on May 2nd, honoring the American veterans and transporting them for their trip to Washington, D.C. to see national memorials, and showing appreciation for their dedication to the service, their sacrifice. So providing these shuttles certainly means a lot to us, and we're happy to do that. We're already having conversations and engaging on Mission 25, which is a big deal for Honor Flight as well, being their 25th trip. I know Suzanne and Bruce have participated, Casey Brown's participated, Suzanne's actually part of the planning committee on that. But certainly an honor to be part of that and be recognized by them for our efforts in doing what we can to support our veterans during that recognition. This past Monday, we did Memorial Day Parade in Eastwood. So staff and their families walked alongside the bus in the Eastwood Parade. It was also the parade that we debuted our America 250 bus, which is actually parked outside. If you have not seen it walking in, feel free to go and take a look at it. It's something that we debuted on Monday that is now in service, using it for special events, but also just celebrating America's 250th birthday. So it's a beautiful wrapped bus. It was a great design, a group effort. Lamar, and if anybody, or I don't know if Casey's here or Lynette, if we want to do a group photo after the, in front of the bus after the board meeting, we'd certainly love to do that as well. What else did we do? We did the Earth Day cleanup shortly after, so the board was on the 24th, the 25th. We did Earth Day cleanup, and about 50-ish employees and their families came out. Heather was there, helping clean up the area around our offices and in the neighborhood. I think we just beat the rain, which was great. So, but it was exciting to see that and help be part of the neighborhood. It was a good group. There was a large JMA's part of that. Mike Atkins and his group from the south side was there. Mayor Owens was also there. So it's a well-attended event. I think Caitlin and her team and the sustainability committee, from when we started this 6 years ago, it was 10, 15 maybe.
Yeah, about 15 people.
And to see it grow over 50 people and then have organizations from around the community be part of it is certainly a testament of how people feel about this area of town and the neighborhood that we serve. So it was exciting to see that. One last thing or two things really. On April 23rd, at the time, I wasn't, the family hasn't announced it publicly yet, but Carm Basile passed away the 23rd. We had our board meeting the 24th, but as I said, they didn't go public with it, so I didn't make that. He was the CEO at CETA for 15 years, 42-year employee, true advocate to the industry and certainly New York Transit. So we were sad to share that he passed.
I know Carm for a long time, and he, there were many conversations together over the years, and it wasn't just advocating for the Capital District, it was advocating for the other upstate authorities. And I actually called him, I wasn't able to make the services, but I did call his wife, and I had a nice conversation with her. And it was nice how it's a team kind of approach with the upstate authorities. He was a good advocate not only for the Capital District, but also for Syracuse.
Yeah.
Our authority,
And I know Joe, Frank Felicity,
Yeah.
Joe, several folks went up for the services. I attended with Miguel for Rochester for the funeral. We did send flowers on behalf of the authority, but it's a sad loss to the industry. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family during this time. Another highlight, just so you guys are aware, it is board evaluations, the surveys. So Janine will send those surveys out on Monday. Already sent out. We know if you haven't got it already, so good. So we have a short turnaround. We have to have these completed and tallied by the end of June. So I don't know what deadline you put out there.
Next board meeting.
So my next board meeting would be perfect, which is the 19th. Then we can have them back. We'll have a box up here that you can drop your envelope in. They are confidential. So next meeting, just come in and feel free to drop it there or hand them off, however you want to do it. But please make sure you get those back to us in a timely manner. And, any questions?
I hear they're really forward thinking in Hawaii, if you want me to go check it out.
You know, I was in a few meetings with John last week. I think we could check it out. I mean,
I will approve you taking the bus.
well, now you're on your own.
I just remembered I can't make it.
Yeah. I think your mom said that. But yes, I was with John at a few meetings last week. They are doing some good things out there.
This is a little off topic, but it does affect Central.
Okay.
I think we had a litigation problem with this. Okay, when you look around, there's a ton of these motorized things. Okay, yeah, bikes, and they're gas powered, and in some parts, in some cities, there's people that go down the sidewalk, snatch pocketbooks. How is the state looking at requiring people that ride those things get a license and that the things get registered?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, we work with the city in the VO scooter, bike and scooter program, but I don't, if there is something out there, I don't know about
I'm
it. I don't
talking
know.
about something different. I mean, you think, how do these people get away with it? And I think one of our buses was involved in an accident with one of these things. And that was unlicensed, correct?
I don't know the
Yeah,
details
I mean,
to
that
that
might-
or to get into it, but I don't know what the state is doing on the state level for that.
That might be something to pursue.
It could be a conversation.
Yeah, there's, some of the states around New York have moved to place restrictions on some of the things that you're talking about. We'll see if it has any impact. You know, some of the lower class items that are classified as a bicycle, you know, as low speed, whatever. The other things like you're talking about 50 miles an hour or whatever, something tells me that additional restrictions and requiring registration and insurance may not translate, you know, might be a law on the books, but might not be what those folks are gonna end up doing. I think it's kind of like with the mopeds, right, the illegal dirt bikes and whatever else, where it's like whack-a-mole, you know, a new one pops up. Yeah, but you're right, there's.
Robert, I'll make a call for
There's a lot
the
of equipment.
manufacturer that's just started in Utica building these. So, I'll look into it, but I don't think there's licenses or anything there.
The two cities that we had contracts with, like City of Bolton and State of Oswego, did not re-sign their contracts. There's no scooters in our county anymore. Because the contract's with the city, right?
So those are two different things, like those types of, that type of equipment is very low speed.
Yeah, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about.
E-bikes.
It's
essentially
essentially
the guy
a
going 40
motorcycle.
miles an hour and snatch your pocketbook.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of
it's
them.
tough. Yeah,
Or
it's tough
slamming
enough
the
to crack.
back of one of our buses.
Sure.
There's another conversation came up, because I ride the bus all the time. One kid wanted to get on the bus with his motorcycle with the electric, but he couldn't get on the bus. That was happened about a week ago.
Yep.
And he had to go to the down the hub and talk to them about that.
Mhm.
And he was trying to bring your thing on the back because you cannot on the front of the bus. You cannot put it on the front of the bus.
Yep.
So how we that's probably come up there. How are we going to deal with that? Because
So the batteries themselves, you're not allowed to bring on a bus. We're not allowed to transport it. That is a regulation for the state. And I'm kind of looking at Lynette because I know we pushed out an announcement or an FAQ on this or a solution.
Yes, bikes on buses, there's.
But because of the battery
Right,
and
that's
the
that's the discussion we got in on
hazard
the bus
of
about-
it, we can't let them bring it on the inside of the bus. But the exterior of the bus, because they have so many different size wheels and different things, if they can't secure it, it can't transport it. We have to look out for the safety of the drivers and the
Yeah,
passengers.
we bought it on the, I just happened to be on the bus when this was happening. The bus driver handled it very well. He got supervisor put on the bus.
Yep.
But the kid wanted to get out of control, but.
Yeah, and those are hard situations, and we've tried to be proactive on it. Maybe we talk about pushing that back out on our social media platform to just make sure people are aware. We just did I think it was Bike the Work Day, Bike Week, and the marketing team did a demo on what is acceptable. How do I put my bike on the bike rack? I can't put my bike inside the bus.
Right.
But we can look at doing something else. But yeah, unfortunately, we cannot transport the battery inside of that. It
That's
cannot be
right.
transported on the interior of the vehicle.
And the bus driver dealt with that.
Is there anything on the rider standards inside the bus that says that?
I don't know. I'm looking at
Maybe
Brendan
we're
with that.
adding to
Maybe
the
that might be a
rider
good
standards.
area to look at that, look at that.
I don't, is it on? I don't know.
I think so.
I don't think it's specifically listed that as like the respect the ride or the rule, the conduct.
Yeah, like that.
I think it's just a rule that we have in place, that you can't bring it on the interior of the bus.
Well, maybe if you guys post it somewhere, like officially post
Yeah.
it, the drivers can have something to reference that says like, this is our policy, like it's listed right here, we can't have it.
Yeah, we
Take
can look
some
into that.
pressure off.
Yeah.
Sure.
As long as the driver, the guy on the scooter wants to pull on from the bus and.
Yeah. No, any other questions? All right. Jackie, quick update.
Good morning, everyone. Just a really quick update. Obviously, you heard Chris, we had a very busy month. One of the things that I just wanted to mention to the board is a few members of us from the HR department, our director and our manager of HR, along with myself and the chairman, attended an HR conference in Rome this past month. The conference, obviously the conference was really good. It focused on a lot of current issues affecting companies, including presentations about conflict resolution, workplace conflict, and updates to New York state and federal laws that are coming down the line. But the most prevalent topic, obviously, that was of the conference was the use of AI in the workplace. They discussed a number of cases that are out there right now in the legal system regarding AI. So with that being said, Central plans to address the AI use in the workplace by developing a comprehensive policy that we're gonna look to.
And that's a consistent conversation we had in Salt Lake City. You know, putting what is AI, how do you use it, how are different agencies using it, the evolution of AI. Every day it's changing. So, you know, looking at how do you craft a policy or create guidelines. They use the term in Salt Lake City, guardrails. You know, you can't craft a policy specifically on everything because by the time you publish the policy, it's changed, right? That's technology. But how do we just set some guardrails on how you use it, what you can use it for? So we're working on getting some policies from our legal team, from other agencies to do some comparisons and help craft our own.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to say anything about the conference?
Yeah, I always think, I've been going there for a while, it makes you think a little bit about things you don't want to think about and how to handle it and what's coming out in the industry and that we're not alone. The AI piece of it though is something that I need to learn a lot about. And you could say you don't want to deal with it, but you've got to deal with it. But no, it was really good. It's a good refresher. Good refresher. Thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Brent?
Good morning. Good morning. So I thought I would start with a ridership report. This month was good, this past month. Onondaga County was up about 4.5% overall. Cayuga County was up almost 10% overall from last year's ridership. Oswego County, so they were up 15% for city service. However, because of that, SUNY still down because of the SUNY cut in their service. They did, yeah. They have less students and just wanted to cut some costs this past year. Oneida County, both Rome and Utica are up. So Utica is up 6.5%. Rome is up 11.5%. So overall, that's about 7% for all of Oneida County. And Cortland County is up about 6% in city service, and then paratransit they didn't have before. So it was a brand new service in April of 2025. So overall, 8.6% up in Cortland County. Now we will be able to, and speaking of Cortland County, be able to look at the data a little bit closer because we know that before we had the service, we had some general estimations of what their ridership was, but now have some good numbers, and we're also excited to get fare boxes soon in Cortland, which means we'll have some more concrete numbers when people are paying. They get counted automatically in a machine, which eliminates driver error, which is great. So overall, we were up about 4% in ridership, so all good things.
Did they have paratransit before, or is that completely new to the whole area?
For Cortland, it's new. They had what they right.
But that was open to anybody that wanted to use it, able-bodied or disabled. It was just it was considered a deviation.
Yeah.
So they would go anywhere in the county and pick people up and take them where they wanted to go.
And the other thing I wanted to touch base with you, we put in the board report, and I know it's a lot, but if you wanted to look at some of the comments we got for Better Bus Onondaga, we had that public hearing last month. We had 50-ish attendees. Julius and Nick were there, as well as many VPs and a lot of the public. We got some good feedback. We've also had feedback. We left the public comment period open for an additional week. We had comments on social media and email, phone calls, letters. We had lots of public comments about the Better Bus Onondaga system redesign, which is great. Most of them are things that either we can say those are not really relevant to this project, so we can work on them in other ways, or we have categorized them, we have met with our consultants, and now we're working through what do we do with those comments, right? So how do we make it better without throwing out the baby with the bathwater? So we had planned to come earlier, and I probably shouldn't admit that, but we're gonna take a minute to continue to work through those public comments, again, internally and with our consultants, which will probably push your board decision off a bit later this summer, but that's good because that gives us the opportunity to really listen to what our customers are saying. One of the things that we really hear a lot, and I'm hearing it less, which means we're doing a good thing, is that we're not listening. And I never want to hear that. We have gone out to the public 3 or 4 times with this effort. We have talked to more than 2,000 people, literally talked to more than 2,000 people in this Better Bus Onondaga effort, because we want to make sure that people understand that they're heard. So that's what we're doing. We're hearing them. We're going back to the plan and saying, are there things that can be changed that don't affect the bottom line, but can help these customers and these concerns? So that's where we are now, and to be continued.
One of the conversations that was at the meeting, this lady was in the wheelchair, I forgot her name, whether her son was.
Agnes.
Agnes.
Yep.
She gave great information that she was talking about.
Yeah, there were a lot of really good comments. A lot of them we could kind of categorize again and say, okay, then how do we deal with this, and how do we address this? And Josh has already reached out to her. I think Chris has also reached out to her to make sure that we are addressing all of those comments. So, and one of the important things, speaking of people reaching out, is to specifically, individually respond to the folks who commented. So that is part of our process, that we will email, call, whatever the communication effort was, to respond directly to the people. And then we'll also put out some stuff on our website and probably through social media to say, these are the topics that y'all asked about and this is how we're addressing them. So, all good things. That's it for me.
I'm just looking at this, seeing all the blue buses. Are you guys going to redesign the Call a Bus route at all, or will that stay white or not?
So the new Call buses will be all white going forward. The first delivery of 8 came in last month. That'll start, if they're not in service now, we'll start going into service. So it'll be an all white bus with the logo on the side, with the wing logo. So that branding, the 3-stripe branding, is all going away.
Okay.
So Call bus will be all white. And we've talked with Tina, we've talked with ATAC, individuals for, not CABV, but the Organization for Individuals for the Blind, to just identify what colors, if we go to a different color, and at least sticking with the white was a cost savings rather than going all blue. But some of the concern was for people with color impairment, that they're used to seeing the white bus, whether it has 3 stripes or not is irrelevant to them, but the white bus is significant to them, so we wanted to stay consistent. And that's why the buses will be all white instead of the blue. Thanks, Brent. And as Brent said, the communication with the community has been key. Aside from the 2,000 people we've talked to, anybody that wants to have a conversation or has reached out, we've engaged with, from local government, county government, state government, organizations and groups, and we're still continuing those conversations today as we continue to work through this process. So we're happy on that. No other reports?
No, I believe that concludes our report.
Okay. we're gonna move governance ahead because Darlene has a time commitment. We're gonna move it about audit. Okay?
Well, the governance committee met earlier this morning, and Suzanne presented an annual management report on internal control and the annual performance measures report along with the strategic plan updates. She also presented a motion for the 2026 mission statement and the performance measures review. Gave us full, beautiful report. That concludes my report,
Yeah,
Mr.
that was
Chairman.
great. Once again, great report, and I know the board appreciates it. But there was a motion that was made in committee, so we're gonna bring that forward for the mission statement. I have someone make a motion for that. Robert, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for your,
Thank you.
thank you, appreciate that.
Have a good month, everybody.
You too.
Okay, we're gonna move into the audit and finance committee meeting. First thing was, John Maloff, actually brought us some really damn good news, okay? The numbers for the insurance. And the savings, if I remember correctly, Melissa, was, you just say that number again? Our savings was a couple $100,000.
300.
Over 300.
Yeah, over 300,000, so I don't wanna dwell on it too long because it might fade away, so. With that being said, I need a motion for the insurance. Luella, second. Heather, any discussion, all in favor, aye. Okay, moving into, Melissa gave our financial statement of March, which looked very well, and expenses from, the revenues. Interesting trend with the mortgage recording tax. I thought that was a trend upward. So there's things happening in all these counties up here where it keeps going up. And like Chris stated, that's very important for the local share, on various projects. But it was a good report, good discussion. I have a motion to move that report. Julia, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Moving into resolutions. Caitlin brought forward a resolution on lobbyists, okay? Chris got involved a little bit more with the lobbyist, what a lobbyist does. It's important for advocacy. We all advocate here, state, federal levels, but we believe this was going in the right direction. So after Caitlin did a very thorough review of the other competitors that were involved with this. And when it came all down to it, a motion was made to award to the Hill East Group a 5-year contract commencing June 1st. May I have a motion? Luella, second. Robert, any discussion?
Can I just add one thing?
Yes.
Okay, I've been involved with this for several years, and I think you will agree. You talk about the federal budget negotiations. I think we've never been through anything like that, and this is a positive because we need professional help to make our case.
Sure.
Yeah, and we know how it is. It's not easy, and trying to, we're one of many. We're one of many. And if funds don't flow to us, they're gonna go to somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important.
Well, the problem is there may not be any funds.
That's a different story, yeah.
I think you guys-
Well, we're listening. We're gonna listen. So, you have motions, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on, Chris came forward to talk about the oil water separator installation. Oh, I'm sorry, natural gas, okay. You know what it is, not the colored sheet, so I'm all over the place. That's all right, though, that's all right. We're saving money. We're saving money. No, we're good. No. Kept these folks trained me pretty well around here over the years. All right, so natural gas, we went out there, recommendation was made to W Renewable Energy for 5 year. We have a motion, please. Okay, Anthony, second. Julius, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. 3C. Okay, now Chris brought up the water separator installation, trench drain repair. It's interesting sometimes when you see the numbers with the bid, how much of a gap there is between the highest and the lowest there. My recommendation was from J.K. Tobin. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for $472,736. I have a motion, please. Julius? Second. Luella, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Chris also brought up the, paratransit vehicles, 11 of them. And we also learned that it's a, is it 5 to 7 year life? Okay, on paratransit vehicles, much different than a bus, because a bus is about 12 years. Yeah. And after all, everything was said and done, going through the proper process, it was recommended that to coach and equipment bus sales in the amount of $1,673,520 odd for 11 buses. And a motion was made to bring it to the full board. May I have a motion, please? Robert, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Comments on old business? Julius?
Our event for me, the 23rd, was canceled because of the one day in the rain. So hopefully we're gonna have to reschedule for June the 13th. And hopefully we're gonna try to see what Central can do for this community event. It's gonna be at the same place at Christian Missionary Baptist Church. And hopefully we can get someone. I got information from here, but I may not be able to explain it like Central. We have someone come.
Yeah, I know.
Work that out.
We'll talk with the team and see. It's also, there's a Pride event that we participate in.
Right.
That we've committed to, so we'll see what we have as available resources for that.
Okay.
Anybody else, any comments? Okay. Any future business?
I guess since I just highlighted it, we will be participating in the Juneteenth parade, or the Juneteenth parade, yes, on June 20th. And then we will also be in the Pride Parade on June 13th. So we'll have our buses in the parade walking with it. So if anybody or board members want to participate or ride the bus in the parade, you're more than welcome to. We have sign-up sheets for staff, and I think they're filling up. So hopefully it's a good turnout.
I want to thank whoever put all the public hearing comments together.
It's
quite interesting.
It's a lot of work.
Whoever was involved with this, but a lot of comments. Yeah. We've grown a lot because many years ago when we had these, we never got a summary report of, well, I at least never did, so maybe I wasn't privy to it, but it's interesting when you take a look at it, and I agree with Brian. The delay is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Lots of adjustments.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Heather?
It's Julius's birthday next week.
Oh boy.
So what we're gonna do here.
52, yeah.
Julius celebrates 51 or 52. I think it's appropriate for us to sing happy birthday to Julius. Heather, you're gonna lead us with happy birthday. Hold on a minute. Brian, you're gonna lead us with happy birthday.
All right, ready?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Julius. Happy birthday to you.
Just the one.
We're gonna have adjournment. Everybody have a great weekend, safe, healthy, and have a lot of fun. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.